Previously on building Benny's movie park. Let's also add the trims to it already. That is looking a lot cooler already. And then that is actually pretty much what I envisioned. Tilt that upwards a little. As you can see, that... Oh, okay, so I may have been a little bit too ambitious by saying I'm gonna finish this today. Gentlemen, welcome back to Egypt. No, to building Benny's movie park in Planet Coaster 2. Today we'll once again work on Egypt, and I'm hoping to finish at least the outdoor areas of this section. That means the bumper cars, of course, maybe some stuff in the back here, and just making sure all of these weird empty areas are either filled up or covered up. So without any further ado, let's get straight to it. What I will start with, however, is a small little wall around this hole. First, let me just make this slightly bigger over here. What I think we should do is make this exit look a bit more natural by using rocks. Basically, I want this to look as if it's just a big cave in the ground. And I'm thinking we can just turn these rocks into desert rocks. And that way, around this edge, we can put a bunch of them. Should honestly be pretty simple. Here you go. This already looks 20 times nicer. Last few ones on the edge here, and then I think we should be good. There you go. That looks really nice. Then using wooden fences, I'd like to try adding a little, well, fence around the hole. Because I think I already explained this in a previous episode. This whole ridge is going to be filled with bizarre tents and huts and stalls. However, actually, I think this looks a little bit nicer. Up until there, for now, this seems decent. I'll begin, strangely enough, with a souvenir shop. I'll put that right here. And I'll do add shelves and just add a few shelves here. One of these on either side, and then some shelves around it, like so, maybe. We'll also go and put a hat counter somewhere along this edge. Maybe like over here. See what else we have. Probably some food items as well. What is something you could eat in Egypt? None of these really fit. I guess we'll just some gelato is always nice. Besides, it's very hot here, so we'll also put some juice maybe. There you go. Why are people just walking through it? That does not make sense. That's rather annoying. Okay, so that's a few stalls. We can already open them, to be fair, of course, to lure some people here. And then now we have to go and make these look nice, starting with coloring these shelves. There you go, a bit better already. And then, like in the previous episode, I'm going to use this one because it does look pretty nice. It does have to be a little bit smaller so it actually fits around the counter. Actually, I don't love that. Let's do two of these canopy pieces. That definitely seems a bit more Egyptian. The fruit, however, is now more than ever absolutely required. Let's go and put that besides this stall. For this one, we'll add a sort of wooden frame around it. And then this time I suggest we create our own kind of canopy design, because I feel like I'm kind of getting lazy sometimes. And as usual, that includes abusing pieces, using them in a completely different way than what they're meant for. And then beside it, some appropriate junk to really spice that up. There you go. Absolutely lovely. Maybe even some little flags to make it a bit more festive. So that, a few times then. Also, what I think might look nice in the end is adding some junk behind all of these stalls, because it would be nice if you can't see too much of the coaster. I almost forgot we also have the pre-made kind of barrows. We can definitely also use, maybe just for decoration at least. I'm guessing a slightly faded white and red. Well, it's definitely drawing more people here, that is for sure. The only thing is they keep walking through it. Like the scenery I get, but these are actual counters. Like why? It just seems weird, but this does look nice. It nicely spices up this this little area. Just a few more here to decorate, and then I'll be right back with you. And you know what? I think on this side we can also use one or two stalls. I also found this massive wagon, which I think we could put like here. It's kind of an empty spot otherwise. And of course, guess what? Inside we can put a bunch of junk again, including a crate over here with inside a few apples, because that is also very, very nice looking. There you go. Very nice. And I also think a few very subtle rocks on the ground here. I just don't really like all these super flat areas. I'll even add a tiny little ladder so you can potentially look inside, or at least we're gonna make it look like you can. I just don't get why people keep walking so close to these. There's a whole path. Why not use the whole path? I also think to at least kind of get that Indiana Jones vibe going. We should add some vehicles, including this one. That seems a nice spot. Yeah, because I've already said this before, but it's starting to look a bit too much like ancient Egypt and not just Egypt. It is, of course, 1930s Egypt-ish, but still, it can't look too ancient. And I think stuff like this could help to get that right vibe going. Beside it, I'll put some crates as if these are being loaded into the truck. And maybe, of course, we don't have any animatronics that actually fit the theme, but we do have cowboys, and I feel like we could get away with these. If we just kind of change the colors, we maybe can make this look a little bit like Indiana Jones. Okay, so let's see. His shirt has to be kind of beige. His jacket actually is supposed to be a different shape, but that is brown. And the pants are also supposed to be brown. We have to kind of use our imagination, but it does add a fun little, you know, twist. You can even put a second one maybe by these crates here. Or is that a bit too much? That's a bit too much, I think. This is making me realize we don't have a single bench. Do we? There's a bunch of people here and there's nowhere to sit. Let's have a look. Let's try and go with a different one for this area. This is actually pretty cool. I've never seen this. It's a pirate bench. I'm not gonna lie, I still love these the most. Like, it's just so universally loved. It basically looks good in every single setting, besides maybe science fiction. So yeah, I think I'm still gonna go for this style again, just because it works so well. Look, people immediately sit down. This was really necessary. We're definitely gonna need more. Let's put another one right here. In general, just along this edge, there's not really that much going on anyway. Wow, this really was needed. Let's see where else. Probably just around all of these edges. There's nothing really going on anyway. Oh, and here. Definitely here. A few more trash cans also definitely doesn't hurt. And especially here, they really fit within the scenery, so that's perfect. I accidentally just came across these parasols. So let's put those on the tables here because I did basically no decoration at all. And I feel like these can just give it some volume, make it look a bit nicer. This whole area is really starting to look alive. I love this actually. However, now we really have to work on the bumper cars because that's the only remaining thing that is completely undone. Unfinished. So let's work on that. First, however, again, I'm being sidetracked by myself, but the fairy tale pack actually came with a bunch of new fountains, and I absolutely love the way these look. And as much as I like creating cool custom things, I mean, we can't deny that this simply looks really good. So why not use it? Only thing is you cannot color these, so never mind. Can you color this one? Probably also not, but at least this matches a lot better. I actually like the simplistic one the most. Now we have a bunch of different ones. This is pretty generic. We have a pretty fancy looking one. I actually really quite like this. Here you go. It's really simple, but I don't know, it's just nice. Only thing is, of course, we have to delete a stamp from the path so people don't walk over it. Let's make it exactly the same size as that stamp. There you go. That, I think, is quite nice. Anyway, back to what we're actually supposed to be doing, the bumper cars. This is going to be a whole operation on its own. First of all, let's go and place an entrance. I think the best spot for that is somewhere along this side. You'll see why in just a minute. Let's for now just pop it in here. Probably going to replace that later, but for now this is good. And then now comes the magic trick. We are going to completely surround this with wool. Well, actually, that... Hold on, not completely, but most of it. Let's start with at least the corners here. I was a little bit too enthusiastic because, of course, we do want to be able to see inside from the side. So let's go over here and pop in a bunch of arches. It's just for the view. You can't actually enter through these. Really just to get that base in. I have no idea if this will all stay, but we'll see in just a minute. By the way, I just saw the update video for this update 7, I think, where we are going to be able to spin these buildings around on the Y-axis, or the Z. Well, the only one we can't do it now, which is great because that should have absolutely been there from the very start. All of these buildings can only be straight up. You can't tilt them sideways, which is unfortunate because that could really help make all of this come alive. Anyway, let's finish this building real quick. I think you can kind of get a feel of what I'm trying to do here. I also already explained this in a previous episode, but the queue will actually be on the roof. which is crazy. I don't even really know if that's gonna look nice, but let's try it. I'll start with just a very simple wooden structure on the top, something like this. That is very, very big. But see how much this already does for the whole vibe? Oh, I love it. See, so now let's move the entrance to exactly right in front of that arch. And then what? Let's have a look. We probably also need this wood over here. Just a layer all across the sides. Little edge on it as well. Then that seems like a decent start. We do need to cover up some of these bits, but that should be easy enough. What I first want to do is make sure that the path or the queue, we obviously need queue path. I was saying I first want to make sure that the queue path is in place, and I can already tell this is going to be a bit of a hassle. Did just get an idea. This seems to fit just fine. Look, we're gonna go, we can go all around. Oh my god, that's even cooler than I imagined. Wait, I actually just had a crazy idea. What if, and you can already see what I'm trying to do, we just use this part as the entrance, so that when you're here, you can clearly see this is the entrance for the bumper cars. So you go up here through the building, then you end up all the way on the other side, and you go inside. All I have to do to make this fit is just make this building slightly higher, and then that's pretty much it. Here you go, just like that. Gotta make this bridge look a bit better as well, but that of course comes later too, when we make this invisible. But okay, so that's then the queue line. Let's put the exit somewhere. Honestly, somewhere here seems decent, right underneath the little bridge, because I don't know why, it just seems nice. There you go. So then we can open it, I think. Yet another functioning ride, ladies and gentlemen. Now the task is, however, to turn this into something nice looking, which is going to be quite some work. So let's get right to it. Bloody hell, it's busy. Guys, I let this be for a few minutes. Look at this. They're standing all the way here. Well, I guess you could say this is a popular ride, isn't it? Anyway, what I was doing is add a little arch here, which of course has to be the correct color. And that baby we shall then simply copy and paste all across the sides. I reckon we can even put this inside. I don't know why I keep doing the British thing. It's getting out of hand. Putting this inside as well. And one more over here. This looks really fancy, actually. Also, some bases at the foot of these little pillars seems a nice touch. Then, to try and hide these weird little bits, I'm thinking maybe we can do it like this, using some sort of window design. I'm not sure about this one, though. Although, in general, I think it would help a lot if we just change the colors of this. Bumper cars can be nicely colored, but everything else probably should be something else. For example, this. Let's make that. For the lights, it seems if we make this black, it just turns off. Is that... See, it does work like that. Okay, so that's already a lot more neutral. Let's see what this looks like. Look, that's a lot less intense already. And here, I'm gonna pop in some of these fancy edges once more. Simply works really well. There you go. I'm just still kind of bothered by these parts. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna cover those up. But I guess let's first put all of this in place and then we'll see. So I'm guessing we can maybe use windows, but this is not ideal. You can still see it through. Besides, nobody's gonna put a window on the edge like this. So that's... Unless maybe we just try something a little bit out of the box here by adding a bit of a thicker wall on the outside. I'll be very surprised if this actually ends up working, to be fair. But we definitely need a higher edge at the very top. Look, this is what I'm afraid of. That is going to require some off-grid pieces, like so. Same thing on this side. But anyway, on this side of the building, they are now gone, so we can just pop in some of these windows again. There's only this tiny little part. I think some junk later on will do the trick. And over here, let's pop in a little fence just right here, so we can get rid of all the path fences. Just like this, looking very clean. I actually really wasn't planning on making the queue on this little edge, but it just kind of works. It just happened. I thought it was going to be on top, but I guess this works as well. Maybe on the other side I can just do something like this, which in itself doesn't make a ton of sense, but I guess we can put some scenery on there. For example, I'm thinking of stuff like this. Look, just a whole row with a bunch of pots and other junk. Honestly, the amount of junk in this park needs to be studied. It's actually insane. And guys, I know I always do this, but doesn't this just look better? It's more 3D. It's just nicer. It's the same thing, but on steroids. So why not simply pop some of these bad boys in all the way till the end of the queue. And then for this weird little part, let's just go and do the... I don't know how else to fix it, okay? This will do just fine. Look at that. Doesn't even really look out of place. I mean, this whole place is a mess. Let's be real. Let's add some lanterns as well for some light during the night. Okay, then inside here, we definitely need some fences. Otherwise, people can just go here and skip the whole queue. For example, maybe this kind of look works. Oh, I reckon that's bloody... I have to stop. I have to stop. What is wrong with me? Which reminds me, this right here is a beautiful spot for parents to watch their children demolish each other. And weirdly enough, I kind of like these fences for the top here. It kind of gives that more modern effect, especially the steel parts inside these. Look, especially from here. I don't know why, I kind of like that. I don't know, it might just be me actually. Seeing this from above just now gave me an idea. What if, even though you're never really gonna see this anyway from down below, but what if we did this? It's a very, very subtle kind of chess pattern. It's a bit more organic and natural than the boring straight wooden planks. Of course, also not to forget are some of these cables once again. Is that a bit too much? And this building very desperately needs air conditioning, I reckon, because, well, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. So let's copy and paste some of this stuff again, make that go to the ground. Very, very nice. And I'm also noticing we probably need some of these lights I made on this wall as well. It seems a little bit dark here otherwise. Then now it's time to fill up all the tiny bits that I left pretty much unattended so far. For example, the stairway down here, and just basically all the in-between areas that look very boring. That also means this part back here, which right now is just a very plain path. Actually, to do this, I first need some room in here. So let's open this up completely. We don't want any of this dirt. This all has to be man-made. As you can already tell here, there is a nice round structure already built around it. All we have to do is simply extend it downward so it covers the entire stairway. Also, these supports, this definitely needs some work. Look, I can select all of these pieces right here and simply copy them downward like so, and hopefully that looks all right. We'll have to make an opening over here so people can go through, but then they go all the way up here until you end up in the merch shop, which is going to be a merch shop at least. This is horrendous, however. So I'm trying a bunch of stuff here to clean this up. It's not going very well. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea how to actually fix all this. What I also just thought of is... I'm sorry, it's one of these episodes again. I'm gonna keep doing random things at random times. But we do kind of need to add some connection points to these buildings for the supports. Otherwise, it is just kind of weird. It's a bit of a mess anyway, in general. I feel like this could make it slightly better and make it look a bit more intentional. And I know these are not made for this, but I'm using them anyway. There you go. So it's a bit more sturdy. Yeah, that definitely helps a little bit. Also do some of those over here. This ride is getting super busy again, by the way. Absolutely crazy. Okay, I think I'm finally actually onto something now. Because look out here, this is starting to look like something. Yeah, I think I got it now. This should be it. And if it isn't, I might actually give up. Let's have a look. Yep. Yeah, that works. It is funny because for you, this took like a few minutes, maybe, not even. For me, this actually took. I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway, I'm just going to put some of these cacti over here for some fun little vibes. Finally, a little fence around this edge. And then it should be fine. It is criminal that this took so long, but at least it looks some sort of okay now. So with that finished, then let's have a look. What shall we do then? This is a pretty empty spot. There's nothing really going on, but to be fair, those spots exist in theme parks. There's always this one lane or street or path that has nothing at all. Also, something I built off screen last time, by the way, is a little storage area here for the staff or for anyone who is not a visitor. There's a fake door here as well. I thought this was more fun than just leaving it plain and open. So, but anyway, it is really starting to wrap up as far as the exterior goes. The interior is not finished, especially not everything around and in the coaster. That's completely empty. But that sure as hell is not a problem for today. All that being said, what can we do today still? The biggest problem right now is, of course, this empty bit. But I think we really should not overthink it this time. I'll simply go and build a building around it somehow that maybe even just connects to the wall like this. I think a nice way to do this is to add a higher part where the coaster actually goes over it, which in turn can be a sort of support structure. And then mostly this is just adding the same details to it as all the other buildings. Nothing all that fancy, I'm afraid. We most definitely need a bunch of these fences as well, or railings. Junk, 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 junk. This is just, of course, for the above view. You won't actually see this from down below. That's why it's okay to just reuse elements at this point. Look, from here, you can just see the top of that. Some windows is expected as well. It's really, very, very simple. Here you go. This is already a decent start. The hole behind it, I think we should probably turn into a very similar thing as this. So let's go ahead and grab a few of these rocks again. Only thing is we have to make this slightly sandier and less red first. And then we quite simply just pop in some more of these rocks. It's all pretty straightforward, guys. Here you go. That is pretty nice, I think. You don't see that at all from the actual area, so it is fine. In front of it, I think we can just add a few benches, some place to sit. And in the very, very front, I will add a small fence to make the walkable area a bit more clear. That is kind of plain and boring though, right? What shall we put here? What about this item? I think I've never even used this before, and it is pretty sweet looking. Maybe we can just put that over here. Sure. Yeah, that works. In that case, I will add some more crates kind of laying around here in the sand, because of course that is what this thing is for. Cargo. By the way, something I did off screen earlier is this. There's now a little stall here, an information stall. And then inside, I actually already put the shop. So this one here is a souvenir shop with all of the shelves attached. And the one right next to it is a photo booth stall. And that reminds me of something. We also still need to add a ride photo over at this ride. Let's go ahead and choose add a ride photo camera. And let's see, probably somewhere around this part, since this is by far the coolest bit of the coaster. Not according to this game, apparently. Do you know what? I don't even care. I'm gonna do this anyway, because it's simply dope. Look at that. How is that not a good picture? And then we just have to go back in here, choose connect ride, then go outside, select the ride, confirm. And then for these billboards, let's do change image, go to ride photos. And why is it not here? Ah, here you go. Raiders of the Lost Cards. Oh, that's... Wait. Yeah, no, that's good. Then the second one as well. Change image. That is actually super cool. Then we can open this up as well, and people can buy their ride photos. That's lovely. Just have to make sure there is a little pole that holds up the camera in question, so it looks a bit more realistic. There you go. With even a little support at the base. Now that is very nice. So for today, I think that is pretty much it. It does mean that most, if not all, of the outdoor areas are taken care of. All of this looks very nice and clean. This, even though a bit boring, is technically finished. This all looks decently good. Then there's the restaurant over here. If you go straight, there's the plane. This, of course, does need some work, and especially that. But since I actually don't know what to do with this area, for now I'll just keep it like this. We can always come back to it later and add another ride maybe. But then yeah, this is the entrance for the top spin. This is all closed up nicely. You may be wondering though, what about the names for all the rides, the entrances? I mean, this is not really a nice entrance. All of that will happen in the next episode, next Egypt episode at least. Same goes for this entrance. It's all very plain. There's not really any clear signs for anything, so that is a problem for the next episode. Now, if you still enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video, and then I hope I'll see you in the next one.